The Horrible Gamers podcast may contain content not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Horrible Gamers podcast, episode 499. One away, Mayo. Here we go.
Almost there. So close.
Geez, we are recording on September 2nd, 2025. Jesus couldn't make it tonight. He's out doing, I don't know, Jesus stuff up in Oregon. I don't know.
I wonder if it's better than Mayo things. I wonder if he's doing a better job than doing Mayo stuff.
Does he just go to downtown Portland and start just protesting things, I don't know, we don't know about, or, you know, I don't know. What is there to do up there? I mean, I guess, yeah. Not even sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, so, yeah, I do have an announcement here, guys. So, yeah, and Jesus cannot make it next week. I think he's going to Gator Swamp Alley or some crazy shit, or Disney fucking land somewhere. I don't know. But
I guess going down and play the alligators.
Yeah. God, I got to do that because you went, when you were younger, and Jesus has already been down there twice. Like, I have yet to get down there.
Yeah,
I think, times. You know, I know I mentioned on the show, but I know my mom lived down there when she was like a small child, and she always said, oh gosh, like there's tarantulas in the trees or something, you know? And I don't have arachnophobia, but it always like got me where she would say, yeah, like we had these banana plants or something like that, and you had to be careful when you went to play in the backyard, you know? And I think it was more to kind of scare us, you know, scare the kids, but I think
so.
Yeah, but it was like
you have that, like, so like it doesn't ever get cold enough, so I think their bugs don't ever really die. So they're year round, you know, so they're more of a problem. But like the biggest thing like I used to notice when I was down there, like they'd have the nets around the swimming pools, and you had the little small lizards everywhere. Like them things were just everywhere all the time. Like,
oh yeah, that's because it's almost like
hanging on the nets.
Yeah. That would, whenever I go to Fiji every couple of years, the Fiji Islands, it's kind of the similar. Well, the nets are in your room, like around your bed. So that's more for mosquitoes. Look up, and out there they call them geckos, not lizards. So yeah, they'd be up on the ceiling and they'd try and poop on your head, but the net would kind of stop that. And the mosquitoes, yeah,
sleep with your mouth closed.
Right. Yeah. Like, okay, especially if you don't want to sleep with a net. You know, if you think, oh, it's air conditioning in the room, right? So there's no mosquitoes. But actually, they do get in when you open the door. They'll hop in there and eat you alive, my friend.
I bet.
Yeah, but I always use a lot of insect repellent. I've never gotten what they call dengue fever. I don't know if it's like similar to the flu or if it's a different thing, but yeah, I've never gotten that stuff. But I usually get all kinds of shots at the doctor. But anyway, enough about that. Here we are, one away. So yeah, Jesus won't make it next week, guys. So we will record probably the first week of October, a little less than 2 weeks away. So that way we can maybe get some special guests on. We'll have all the hosts here and have a good time for episode 500. Man, I can't believe it's been that long. So
500 times what, like 3 hour shows, basically.
Yeah,
and on average, so you're.
And you know, like in the beginning, like we would do this on, I want to say it was like, I called it Saturday morning, but it would be like, hey, everybody jump on at like 11 or 12. And well, when I say the beginning of reboot, and yeah, about 11 o'clock in the morning, we jump on, gosh, what was it called? What was Microsoft's thing that they went ahead and just shelved or canceled?
Skype?
It was Skype. So I think we'd all get on. Yeah, I think that was like the only thing available, right? Was Skype. And we'd all just kind of get on there and, you know, shoot the shit for an hour and a half before we start recording. And then we'd record and then we'd all go play games together. Or, like we'd all go play Battlefield after that, or, you know, Call of Duty or whatever it was. And just stay in that Skype call for like 6-7 freaking hours, you know? Like, yeah, it was a good time, you know? You know, especially then we record so early on a weekend where, you know, and yeah, there'd be times where people would be like, hey, I got to go run some errands. I'll be back in 4 hours. And we'd still be on. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. So, but yeah, now we're later on Monday evenings, and kind of comes to an abrupt end. But still, still loving it, Mayo and Jesus, and we'll get them on in a couple weeks and keep the show alive, guys. But
Yes.
anyway, you can follow us on the X at _horrible gamers. Leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. Give us 5 stars on there. You could even comment on the Spotify episodes as well. So I think we get a lot of listeners there on Spotify. I do like the Spotify app a lot more. I do listen to more. I was going to mention last week that, and this is not an ad for Spotify. They should be freaking paying us for this. But if you notice, there's some good stuff on there, Mayo. If you like it's got the cool kind of, I want to call it more of an AI feature where if you search or listen to anything, like there's some free stuff on there. For example, it's still a podcast, but if you listen to anything like Marvel or anything from I don't know if there's DC stuff on there, but it's like a different take. Like they'll give you this podcast audiobook of I don't want to say Wolverine. What was I listening to? Oh, there was some DC stuff. I was listening to something from Batman. And it's a little more, it is. It's like where you've got 3 or 4 different people, 3 or 4 different voices, and they'll add audio effects and stuff. I don't like a lot of that stuff. Usually I like one person, actually doing the recording, maybe doing, not with different voices, but yeah, I guess a male and a female, right? Yeah, but when you've got different people in there and it just, I don't know, it feels like you should be watching it. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, this is not something I'm enjoying because, yeah, but some of them are pretty cool. So I do recommend those. And then you'll notice on the Spotify app, right, where they'll show you other stuff, right? That's either, DC related or, comic related style type podcast stuff. Yeah, so pretty cool. I've been listening to those a little bit more. So, but anyway,
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot on there. I mean, you start digging into it. Like I had the premium, and then there's audiobooks. I remember Jesus. I think it was last week he was talking about that. He's like, there's books here. They've had them for a while. Actually, it's been about a year now, I think. But yeah, the premium does have audiobooks, which is kind of wild. So there's a lot to listen.
And then
to.
there's right, and then there's some for purchase. There's some that are included with your premium subscription because it's the same thing on Audible, where I will get I think it's called Audible Plus, right? Where you get that with your premium subscription, right? So I do get a lot of those, those premium podcasts or whatever. Again, in that format, right? That's either just a one author or one person reading, and then or it could be like I said, some DC. It could be a Star Trek thing or something that I enjoy that's sci-fi. So it's got a bigger production. So I'm a sucker for all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I've been doing Audible, for years. And then the other thing, Mayo, I might actually switch because I've been doing the YouTube Premium. I just can't stand ads. I know I can skip a lot of it, and it's like, stop going to the ads. Sometimes I'll let it play, and I'm like, all right, if it plays, I won't get 2 more ads in the freaking video or whatever, So I've been doing the music and some of the other content is on there. So good stuff. So, but anyway, I digress on that. Facebook, we have a Facebook group, Horrible Gamers Podcast Community. That's at facebook.com/groups/horrible gamers if you're into the Facebook thing. And also go over to Redbubble. Plus the Redbubble put in, I think you just put in HGP, or you have to put in Horrible Gamers to kind of see some of our merch on redbubble.com. And, grab a mug, shower curtain, a block, some stickers. I like the stickers on there. I stickered up my Series S over here. It looks like
nice.
Yeah, it looks like it actually. I'll see the picture. I think you'll like it. So, it's kind of got the white S Xbox, and then I cut it out to where it fits perfectly on the front of it. So it kind of looked a little too plain. So it needed an HTTP sticker from Redbubble. Also, our intro song is by Phantomech, Fowler and Twistix Breakout, and our outro song who do we use for our break outro song? Is it also broke for free? Right?
Yeah,
By
it's
Phantom
broke
Mac?
for free now. Yep.
Yeah. So that's my favorite outro on that one. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to talking about some video game stuff and whatever else you want to talk about, Mayo. Some Buckeyes maybe. Like it was an off week, so we'll
Yeah, we had
skip
a
the
bye week.
sports. And I'm not a big what I call it's funny. This is actually because I'm into the and I got this from Ryan. And like I've never even heard the term before, but sports ball. I will throw some people off at work, when somebody will bring up, the 49ers, the Raiders or whatever. And it's funny, because now I'm like 600 miles away and people are like Raiders. And I'm like, yeah, they're not here in the Bay Area where we're from, so you can't, the closest thing would be the Santa Clara 49ers, but they're still called the San Francisco 49ers. So yeah, they're 3-0, looking good. I've been cheap, Mayo. I've been watching the of course I follow them in NFL on the Twitter X, so you can kind of watch it. What is it like 30 seconds after the play? So I don't get it in real time, but yeah, at least I'll watch all the plays. It's like the most important part of the game. So, and you figure I'm only 1 minute away, so it's not bad. But yeah, and of course I will pay for whoever. I will always watch the Super Bowl. I usually pay for 30-day subscription to whatever. I'm trying to remember what it's going to be on this year. I think it was Fox Plus or whatever. So yeah, I'll do those. I have the NFL app or whatever. I can still watch highlights and stuff. And yeah, so just not paying anybody $20 or $15 a month, for a full subscription. Yeah. Not enough into the sports ball stuff, but I'm curious, man. Do they have something like that for college ball at all? That it's any kind of a subscription base that you've ever heard of?
I don't think so. Usually it's
I've never seen it. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's down the road though, right? We're paying them now and everything, so we're paying these college athletes besides their scholarship. So I could see them do licensing deals where it's only going to be on Fox or it's only going to be on. I mean, we do have like the Big Ten network here in Ohio, like because we're in the Big Ten. Like some of the games will be on there, and then depending on like who it is, if it's like a smaller team we're playing or something like that, it might not be on TV, but it'll be on like the Big Ten network. So, I'm surprised.
It's funny. I see that. I see the Big Ten on YouTube, and anytime I press it, I'll get more Big Ten stuff. So, yeah, super popular ball out there for sure. If I'm getting more analytics, from just from YouTube on Big Ten, but yeah, I know there was recent. I do want to say recent within the last. I want to say within the last 6 months, I did see where now players can get paid. So I don't know. I guess if you're part of the what is it called, the NCAA, or as far as college ball goes, yeah, like where they're starting to roll that out more. So yeah, and I don't know if that's good or bad or whatever. So
yeah, I don't know either. That's tricky ground, right? Because they're already getting a free scholarship. So they're getting paid there. They're getting a free education. But the schools do make a ton of money off players.
For sure.
These bigger schools bringing in these, these high 5-star ranking players, and then they're not really, they're getting their education, but like they could be making way more money if they went to the NFL sooner. So it kind of answers that, I guess. But like, yeah, you're right. It's like, is it good that they're paid, or is it bad? Because then I wonder if the money goes to any of their heads early, or if it becomes an issue.
Yeah. Right. Like I saw that and I went, I don't know. Like I know that was restricted for so long, but anyway, let me know if there's an app for that, because I know we do talk about like college ball, when we're in our Discord chat talking about a certain video game that we've been loving a lot more. That's Path of Exile 2. So this game has really hooked me. I know I didn't get to talk about it more last week, but man, like, okay, Mayo, like, did I tell you this? So this computer that I'm on right now, this is my, my main PC computer that I play most, if not all, my games except my Steam Deck, and I've got the PS5 in there. But like every time, like the wife, I think she wanted to do a lot of schoolwork on Sunday, so it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go play Borderlands, Borderlands 4 because Ryan bought it, and man, I went in there. I'm like, man, I can't get enough of Path of Exile 2, so I had to buy it on there as well on Xbox. And
this is probably my fault. Like, you've had it for a while, and then I
bought it right at launch, November. November something, like literally a couple days after it launched, and I don't know what it is about these ARPGs, or like, I guess I really liked. My favorite was Diablo 3. Yeah, like, and played it for a little bit, like whatever, and then I put it down for so long, and then now I feel like I'm in full force back on this. Well, that's because of you. Now that I'm back on it, like, because, right. Well, I'll say this, that I think you're a little different, Mayo, from other people that would try to. How do I put this? Like, I don't like to try to get into too much of the stats and like all the different crit numbers, and best gear will this number, and this one's better, and you've got to have certain fucking formula to and all these things on your weapon. Like, some of that stuff just kind of turns me off, but no, like, you explained it so well that, like, okay, Gunny, like, you got in there and said, all right, the weapon looks good, but you want to have more strength or more intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty simple for me. You know what I mean? Because when you go into the passive skill tree or whatever it's called, it's like, it's very daunting, right? Where you're like, but I guess when you really start to look at it, like when you start, because you can see what they're going to be. I think pretty much all of it, right? Like you can kind of hover over things, and so
you can
a lot of the same.
I mean, I don't know if you tried this or not, but like on the right side, on the top of the screen there, you can actually type in a skill, like say like freeze, and it will highlight all the nodes on that skill tree that involve freeze. So you can kind of look at it, which way you want to go. So if there's a particular skill you want to use, or you want to kind of level, you can type it in the top right corner, and it'll highlight them all for you, which is pretty cool.
Okay. I have not. So yeah, I did see that up there. I have not clicked. I have not put anything into it, but I definitely saw it up there, and I went, yeah. So I wasn't exactly sure, like, what command or what word phrase I would put in there, but definitely, me. I love my freeze. I've got, I think it's like a level 8 on my skill gems. So yeah, and I think my fragmentation rounds. So let me just back up a minute for those of you listening that have not known. Like, I'm playing as a mercenary, which is the crossbow. Level, what am I, 32? I think by now. So
yeah, you were right around there.
Yeah, so I'm getting up there. Yeah, I'm fucking moving right along. And yeah, I'm just loving this freaking game. Like, I feel like also another thing I wanted to touch on was, and see what you thought about it when this game becomes free to play, and because it feels like right now this game feels like a $40 or $50 paid game. It feels like it, right? Because I don't feel like I'm going back. Oh, let me go back 2 levels and then start grinding up again, right? So I can gain 3 more, or 4 more skill points, or 5 more skill points, or I haven't felt that yet. Like, do you think when the game, well, and then when it comes to the gear as well, do you think when the game launches they might change the formula or change it around at all, or to make it say, hey, you know what, this is a free to play game, you better grind the hell out of the game, or whatever? I understand it's just like in Path of Exile 1, it's all cosmetic, right? So anything
that's what I was going to say. I think it's like, I noticed, like when I go to my town, and you probably notice it as well, a lot of the people have different skins and pets and different effects when they walk around. There's like footsteps that are on the ground that are highlighted, or they'll have a pet rock, or they'll have like a little dragon running behind them, or they'll have wings on their back. There's a lot that's all paid, right? And then there's also like one thing I would say the biggest negative in my opinion is like, so I started up the guild thing on there, right? So to do a guild stash, like just that stash that we have, for pay for the one slot we're using, I had to use real money to buy that. So like that's not like a free in-game thing. I had to pay for that.
Oh, you did,
for
and there's not a lot of room in there. Just one page.
No, and I think it's like $5 or $6 per tab. So like, I mean, it's not a ton, but it's just the fact that you have to like spend, probably really if you wanted 4 tabs, you're talking $20 for guild, like, and you can actually donate money to the guild because there's like a in-game currency, right? And you can buy it with your own money, and then you can donate to the guild, which is kind of interesting, right? Which, I mean, our guild is gonna be really small. It's just gonna be a few of us playing, but
so I can go ahead and buy another page for us. Is it? Needed to?
Yeah, like, or I can't remember if you could do it or if you become like a captain or not, but you can send me like the coin, and be like, hey, buy another page or whatever, and you can give it to the guild. I think you can put a note in there like saying what it's for, and you can and then I could go and purchase another tab, and you can have up to so many tabs, so you could definitely make it bigger. But yeah, for now I was like, well, I don't know how many of us are actually playing stuff, so I'll just do one tab for now, and if we start filling it up, maybe I'll buy another one down the road here.
Yeah, I think if we get a third person to that guild, or somebody who's playing consistently, or especially even 4 people, there's no way because the crossbow and some of the
he was playing a lot, and he kind of backed off at the end here. So like he could use it some too, and there's a lot of gear in there I put in there for him that he can take. But,
did you say your son?
Yeah, but what's nice too is like I'm far enough ahead now where I'm getting a lot of like rare items, not rare, but they call them unique. So that there's the nicer items, and I'm getting a lot on the drop. But the funny thing is, like most of it does not drop for my character class, so it's stuff's dropping. And it's like the crossbow or a bow and arrow or armor. And I'm using a sorceress, which is like basically no armor. It's all about energy shield. And so like I'm not getting any of those kind of gear, that are the rare, or not rare, but uniques. But
yeah, I'm gonna keep calling them rare. I know I call them rares, and then I think then I always forget that magic is yellow or goldish color, right? Like, and I'm like, so when I get these things, orbs of, what are they called? Or no, they're the manifestation. What are they called, Mayo? Where you can upgrade an item from like an
orb. I can't remember what name it is. There's a bunch of them. There's
transmutation or something. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones, but I think the ones that you get are like you'll accumulate a bunch of those. Like I have 30 going from regular to magic. So
yeah, I think I have about 200 of those. I think. And then the next one that goes from like magic to rare, I have a few. And they have ones too that will take a normal item and make it a rare as well. Those are nice.
I think I have one of those. Yeah.
I have a bunch of those.
One like that. Yeah.
But what happens?
I haven't had a use for it.
Yeah, when you get to end game, actually, what happens is there's a whole currency system where you can exchange that stuff for better orbs. So it may be like there's like a market, right? So when it fluctuates all the time, it depends what they go for. And you could put like, hey, I want to trade 100 of these exalted orbs or whatever for this orb, and it'll give you the breakdown because you click on what you have, and you can put like what you have in there, and it'll tell you, and it'll ask you what you want, and it'll tell you how many orbs you need for the exchange rate. And so like you can kind of change it up. And then people are like, you can buy gear in there as well. So it's like a little marketplace where people can sell their gear. It's like higher end gear over here in game. And you got to use like certain kind of orbs, which are hard to come by, but kind of valuable. So
yeah, and I noticed also, even for a regular player like me, there was other, like just taking a crossbow or whatever. Like they only asked for an orb of transmutation or whatever it's called, like, a simple one. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I guess if I really wanted, that particular, crossbow, then even a low level player, 20, 30 can even just do the exchange. I think they can just, Yeah, like to a real player, it's not real money, right? You just kind of give them the one item, and they'll give you an item. So it's pretty safe, I think. I haven't done it, but yeah, haven't had a need to.
For me, like I've dabbled in the market already, right? And they actually have, like how you have the orange items, which are the uniques. They actually have a foil version of them as well. So they're kind of holographic. They're even like one step higher. I've never had
I
one
haven't seen
drop.
those.
Yeah, I've never had one drop, so I think they're really rare. But the required materials for a trade are really hard to get materials as well. So they're definitely like a higher prize item, Maybe you can get lucky and get one or whatever. But
right before
I'm
we'll
really
be trading
enjoying the game,
Path of Exile cards here, right?
right.
Yeah.
And it's fun too. I think
Pretty
it
cool.
helps too. Is maybe like if you get stuck, I'm able to come and help you or whatever. Because I've gone through the campaign before now, and then B is I'm just that one extra person to revive you, And so like if one of us dies, whatever, one person can revive the other one or not, so that can be pretty helpful. And then the scaling too is kind of nice. So like when I come back to use, I'm level like 61, I think. When I come back and join your game, it like equals out our level, so it kind of brings me down to your level. So I'm just not like one shot and everything, and so it makes it a challenge for me as well. Still, so like if we fight a boss together, it's not an easy fight like if I would fight it myself. Because I'd do way more damage against that boss.
Well, it's funny. Like I know that you've said that, and it definitely felt like where we got in the first time. And I remember fighting this boss, which I went back and fought the same boss yesterday, where it was just like this low level boss, like a level, whatever, 25, and like I was like, oh yeah, like I definitely, was able to do that. But it's funny when you joined me that time, it was like like we kept dying. Like I was like, what the hell? But what I was like level 15 or something, and then it must have really brought you down in. But yesterday, when we went to fight that boss, that it would have taken me another hour to kind of go in there and probably go at least 2 more times, and then I probably would have. I was getting him down, but like I think he was resistant to fire, right? Or excuse me, to ice, or fucking cold or something. And then it was like, gosh, but it was like taking forever to get his health bar down.
Yeah,
and
you was streaming it on the Discord, and it was taking forever for his health to go down. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long, drawn out fight for you.
Yeah, and I thought I almost died a couple times because there's so much going on the screen, and then here comes Mayo with this like electricity, and there's just like freaking electricity and fire bolts and fucking crackling fucking look like electrical wires coming across. I'm like, I don't know where to stand. Like, where do I roll to?
Like especially the game gets crazy sometimes because it shows my abilities on the ground too, and the game is so I don't know what the word would be. Like there's just so much going on the ground, right? There's fire and there's this, and like my character is shooting lightning, and it's like an AoE lightning going every which direction.
Right, it's like throwing me off.
Fire down. When you put a ring of fire down, when the lightning goes through it, the lightning catches on fire as well. So that if you pay attention to it, the lightning's blue, but it's got red edges on it, and it's on fire as well. So when it hits an enemy, it shocks them, and then they start having like electricity run through them. You'll see the sparks running through them, and they take more damage to electricity, but then they also get ignited with fire, and so they'll start burning as well. So like they're getting hit with electricity and burning at the same time. Which is kind of neat.
So it was
like, do stuff like that. Even your character, like when I put down the fire, if you fire through it, anything you shoot through my fire will become infused with fire, and you'll add that much more to it, which is kind of neat. Like so, like if you're just shooting your grenades will have a little bit of fire on them as well. So.
And I noticed that too. Where what is it in your skill gem set? Like near the bottom of your skill gem set, where it's I guess it's not part of your. It's not part of your actual, like on the crossbow or whatever. Like it's not. How do I put it? Like it's just another activation, right?
It's like a passive skill.
The
so
passive skill, which you can put, and you can put those little, the skill gem fucking things in there as well. Because I kept trying to remember, like, think how, like, okay, so I'm shooting like basically fucking this ice shit out. It's like, why are some of the enemies catching fire? And then I realized, like, oh, it must be that passive skill gem set that it automatically, is enabled or whatever. So it's also doing that extra damage as well.
Yeah, because everything compounds off each other, so it's kind of wild. So, like my build right now is pretty much all electricity, and then you put down that ring of fire, and you're shooting these bolts through it, and they just go everywhere. And it's all about speed and damage. And then I can bring this whirlwind thing that wraps around me. It does so much more damage. And then you put a signal on the ground, and it does increase damage if you're standing in it. And then I can drop another one that an enemy, if they're in it, they're susceptible to elemental damage. So like if I hit them with that, then they're weak to lightning. So like lightning does even more damage to them. So like the more things I can hit them with, like the faster I can knock their health down with sometimes. But
yeah, and I thought that was cool too. I think Diablo does something a little bit similar. So when you put that blue circle down or whatever, if I'm standing in it, then I'm also going to do that extra damage to any enemy. So
yeah, because it buffs anybody in your team. I'm curious what to see if this game like would be with 3 people. I'm kind of interested, like to see what a 3-man group would be like.
What if you all 3 had blue circles? But I guess can you all 3 have the same kind of class or subclass or whatever? I'm curious.
Yeah, you should be able to. We should be able to just cover the ground. Like,
yeah.
And then there's also skill jump that can change the size of that circle. So, like, that's where the builds kind of get crazy. Is like you get your skills, but most of the skills don't really shine until you get them skill gems added to it. It will change the radius, or it will change like the duration, how long it's on the ground, or I have different ones that will one that pierces. Like I don't know if you use that or not as a ranger type character where it'll go through one enemy and hit the enemies behind it. But then there's also like a negative effect to it, is you do only half as much damage. So you're like, okay, is it worth hitting 2 enemies at once, or take half the amount of damage, or you just want to hit one enemy at a time and do full damage? You got to plan it out and figure that out too. Kind of mess with it.
Yeah. Like I've only dabbled a little bit into, since you gave me those orbs, I've only dabbled a little. Like, and I mean, if anybody's listening, like if you go on that list of, the different orb things where you can engrave them or upgrade them, depending on which one you get, like there is a lot of stuff in there. So, and there's probably got to be like,
the
there's got to be different, like at least 15 things that are relate to like cold, whether it's freeze or ice or whatever it is, like an ice wall, or you're just, some fucking ice daggers and, different things, right? And you can upgrade those. Like, so I've just been trying to like take the ice bite or whatever it is, or just my cold, things that I'm shooting for the crossbow that, like, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to level that up to level 8 because I like it. Like, and like, as long as I'm doing a ton of that cold damage and I've got my frag rounds, which I'll also use, like, I try to keep different elements in there, right? So, I think it helps sometimes, depending on, where you're at, like, in the world or whatever, because it'll say, like, these enemies are, whatever, resistant to ice or whatever. I mean, if you're even powerful enough, like, I've noticed, like, I'm still killing them or whatever, like, oh, okay, I noticed my fragmentations rounds, or, what's the other one that I use? Similar to the fragmentation rounds, where I guess I'm doing armor break, right? So, yeah, like that one, I got to do a little bit better, right? I just have to, as long as my crossbow's shooting 2 or 3 different times, like, yeah, does a little more damage each time. But yeah, I guess you could still use freeze, but yeah.
Yeah, the crazy thing is too, like with the skill gems, I don't know if you dabble much in it or not. So you can uncheck the bottom left corner, because right now it'll mainly gives you like recommended, right? And so if you uncheck it, it gives you all of them in that level, and it'll show a skill gem for every class. You can actually start mixing those up. There's actually useful skills you can actually unlock that work with your character by unchecking that, because you can like gain skills from other characters. Like if you really wanted to, you could get the ability to raise, like a necromancer. You could raise dead bodies, and turn them into people to keep in front of you and have them tank for you in a way. Like if you wanted that skill, you can uncheck that on the game when you go to unlock your skills, and you can just go down and add that to your skill tree, and you can just start doing it.
Yeah, I remember you did tell me that. So then how does that work? Okay, so then I know I can uncheck it, and I guess as long as I activate it, I'm going to get more orbs that are related to that, or I guess that I can, or the little shards that I can. Are they called shards? The ones that you put into the skill gems, right? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're just called skill gems. But yeah, they're like a little shard piece, right? When you cut it, because they call it cut them. And then you can take those in and out,
right?
Yeah, and then you can take them in and out anytime you want as well. So you can flip things around. But two, when you unlock a skill, right? So you have your set of skills on the left side of your screen, right? Your grenades and all that kind of stuff. You can actually take the whole skill out of your rotation and put a whole new skill in there if you wanted to. Like you could take out like the ice, whatever you had, and remove it from your whole tree and put a different skill in there. Like if you decided to change it up. And then you can actually reset your skill tree as well. It requires a bunch of money. You got to talk to the hooded one. He can reset your skill tree. So if you have done things where you don't like how it went and you want to change it up, you can actually talk to him, and it costs you like 200 or 300 gold per point. And you can.
Is that what it is? Okay, I was going to ask you if he does a total reset or is it per point?
No,
okay,
you got to go backwards. So you would start like at the end of your, not the last things you've done, and you can refund backwards, and it's like 200 or 300 per refund, and then you can.
That's not bad.
You can clear it all, and then you could respec, but it costs you like maybe like 10 grand in the in-game currency.
Yeah. So, I want to say I've got it. I probably do have at least 10 grand. Like, I mean, not that I'm gonna go do that or anything. I've been pretty happy with the choices I've made so far.
You can, right? Like if you decided you wanted to completely break away from ice or whatever, and like you wanted to go with like a fire type thing, you could completely do that. You could search fire thing, and you can see where all those skills are at in the skill tree, and those perks. Because there's always these perks, right? It'll be like plus 6% damage, fire damage, or 6% this, or there's all these little stats you can get on the skill tree that will enhance your character quite a bit sometimes. And then always those big circles will be like a bigger, more dramatic effect. Or they'll give you an ability. There's actually ones that give you actually a skill. If you unlock it on the skill tree, it'll actually give you that skill. Because a lot of times, like there's weapons that will give you a skill as well, right? So like if I pick up a staff,
right,
one staff could have fire on it, and it'll give me the fire skill. Or if it has lightning,
right. That's what I was asking you about yesterday. Yeah, when I noticed. When I see it on the ground, it'll say, I'll be like, why does this one have a skill to it? Like, some don't, most don't. Yeah. Where some drop,
a lot of weapons anymore where I'm at is like, for sure it's going to have a skill associated, and it'll have a level. So like, you may be like level 5 or 6 or something like that on your ice. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called because I've never used your class, but the next weapon up may have like a level 7 or 8. And it'll do a little more damage and stuff like that. So it's worth picking it up and then rolling the passives on it to make them better, to make your character stronger. So
yeah, that's cool. And well, no, I'd say a little bit of a spoiler, but I was able to. I'll give a little bit of a spoiler, but so I've now unlocked a thing where I'm able to. If I wait, I think I have to find this thing, right, and it'll desecrate weapons. And I think it just adds another, basically, what does it add to it, Mayo? Like another,
like a passive ability or like a perk.
Like it adds the one extra thing. So if you've already got like 6 different passive abilities, right now you'll have 7 or whatever. Like it'll just add just another random one or whatever. So
right, but the beauty is you can pick between 3. So you can pick, you get a choice instead of just adding a skill to the gear. Because sometimes you can just randomly add a skill to something, and then it's like something you don't even want. Like
That's right. I forgot. There's 3
I literally
options. Yeah.
had times where my character uses intelligence because it's a sorceress, and I'll add a skill, and it will add dexterity to a weapon, and I don't need that at all. And there's actually ways to remove that as well, but it's also a gamble because it removes a random skill. So you could remove something you want, so you don't want it. It's a risk versus reward sometimes.
I've seen that with streamers that are kind of up in your level and even higher, where they're like, wait, what happened? Like, why is my life so low or lower than it should have been?
Yeah. Right? It can totally break a piece of gear. Like I have
I had it happen.
My staff right now gives me 4 levels to any lightning skill. So like if my staff has like a level like 13 or something like that. So my one ability, my lightning is like level 13, but this adds 4, so it makes it a 17. So it's way stronger, like it makes just my lightning way stronger. If I would re-roll that and I would lose that +4 levels, and it would be back to just whatever like level 13 is or whatever, then it's gonna be a way weaker item, and so like I do not want to re-roll that because I'm scared to lose that +4. But
yeah, I think I did that with like early on where I would just like I would wear like a certain ring or whatever, or I'm like, oh, this ring looks better, let me just put it on. Well, I forgot that ring had +4 on intelligence or whatever it was, and then it took away fire damage on my crossbow. I was like, huh? Like it just kind of where it was only like I mean, we're talking like 4 to frickin' 7 on the damage. Like I was such an early character, and it's happened to my whether it was the gloves or the armor, and I'm like, wait, why is it red? What happened? I'm like, oh yeah, because the ring I was wearing had something like strength or something to it, and once you remove it,
that's how they limit you. Like sometimes, like say, like I'm building a character. Like my sorceress is pretty much based off intelligence, right? So I'm not doing a bunch of strength. So you need strength to have armor and like heavier weapons, like a club or something like that. You know what I mean? So I could technically use a club, technically, but I'd have to put so many points in strength that I would take away from intelligence, and it would make my witch probably a little weaker. But you could make like a hybrid. You could make like a melee character that is a witch. Like can do both.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, but you just wouldn't have a whole bunch of points in one or the other. Like I think right now, I have about 130 in intelligence, and my strength is like maybe like 20. So
okay, yeah,
pretty low.
Yeah, I've been going just kind of even Steven on everything. I've been trying to keep it even. I'm like, because I just don't know what direction I'm going to go yet. Like,
yeah, and I think because you're more of like a hunter class, I think you probably would go with. There's armor that's like evasion and like armor. So like taking like your evasion will help your dodge so you don't get hit at all. And then armor is just armor, right? And so like because you think your character is like a lighter class, right? You're kind of more mobile and stuff like that. You're not a tank person. So you're not heavy armor, but you're probably going to use some. Where like my character uses all magic, so energy shield is pretty much what a sorceress would use. So I have this shield around me that does basically that eats up any damage I take before that shield has to run out and get to 0 before I even take any health, lose any health. So and that regenerates too. And then you get tons of gear that can regenerate the shield faster or slower and stuff like that as well. So it's just so much little fine tuning you can do. But that's what I find fun about it.
Yeah, and it's all those things like while we're in stream, and I recommend anybody listening like definitely get like a friend in there that has experience, because Bale will be like, well, press the C button. Oh yeah, and that'll show your life and your freaking armor and your your freaking evasion or whatever. Like, Henley, you got too much evasion or whatever. Like, maybe get a different piece of gear to get more life, or what I mean. Like, there's that balance, and it's cool. Like, sure. To know the different little shortcuts to kind of see your stats.
stats real time too. So as soon as you change out a piece of gear, you can see the stats live change. You know, like they immediately change on your screen, your character stats, so you can see it. You know, you're like, oh, okay, now my health is better.
I've been doing that more, right? I've been doing that more where I'm seeing it change.
Yeah, you see all those passives on your gear, and it's kind of like, okay, there's like 7 things this thing has, and the other thing has 7 different things. How's it going to affect my character? It's kind of hard to figure it out sometimes. So sometimes it's easier just to put it on and just look at your stats and then take it off and swap it out and see where your numbers drop and see if you're okay with it that way or not.
Yeah, and the other thing I recommend, maybe take your other, let's say your armor, and what I've done a couple times, Mayo, where I'm like, okay, I saw it lowered my health or whatever, my life a little bit, you know, like maybe 26 points. So then I went back in to another level and then, or the same thing, and then I kind of went around and just kind of see how it affected like my, you know, my health basically. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, are they killing me more than they were before? You know, like I just kind of tested out by, you know, jumping into a bunch of enemies or something. But yeah, see how it goes, right? Like, yeah, I guess you'd really find out if you're fighting a boss, like, holy shit, let me go get the other one, which is still pretty easy to do. I'll say that too, where, hey, you get the portal, go back to town, whatever, go grab that old armor, you know, keep it on you, like keep them both on you. You can just do it, right? Because you can it's just like Diablo, you can always go back to go back to your chest and switch it out or whatever and gather more gear and go sell the old garbage. So,
and I don't know if you've done this either or not. I don't know if you've noticed when you bring up your gear on your character, there's another set of weapon slots up there.
Yeah, I haven't messed with it.
And you can set a different set of weapons in the other slots. And if you hit X on the keyboard, it switches instantly. So like you can have 2 sets of like weapons in there, and you can change them like on the fly. So that's kind of neat. Like you can completely change how your character can use things. So
yeah, and I guess so. Then I don't know if I want to do that though, man. I can't think of where I would kind of go, because I guess you'd have to use that your skilled. You'd have to have the skilled gems, right? So maybe you can kind of do it half and half, right? Is that how you can do it, or you can say, hey, this one skill gem set is for the staff or whatever, or whatever other weapon I have in here, right? Or I don't know, like because you would.
Well, I mean, you can get so like how your weapons can give you a skill, right? So like maybe you can pick up a different weapon and it has a skill attached to it that you normally don't have access to. Like say it's like fire, and you could build that up and you could switch it on the fly and use that fire against an enemy who's weak against fire if you wanted to get the boss without having to unequip what you had before. So maybe you have an item like a gun that's really got a really good AoE. It kills everything on the screen really easy, but it's really bad against a boss because the single target's really bad. You can switch your weapon out to something that does better single target damage against a boss. So you can swap them just by hitting X on the keyboard, which is really nice.
So I wouldn't recommend this for new players, because I'm going to say this, where you're going through the game, right? You're picking up these, these uncut skill gems or whatever they are, right? So they're going to be, you know what I mean? They're going to be related to your weapon, right? Well, I guess if
your skills, because you can make skills, right?
Yeah, so your skills, right? Because you can't just switch weapons. Like it doesn't, because it'll say like, hey, you can't use this or whatever. You're not the right class, or I don't know. You know what I mean? It just seems
limited. You're limited to your strength and intelligence. So like, an axe or like a club is going to be higher strength. So maybe you don't have enough strength in your character to use it. But if you did have enough strength, then you could. So if you do push a little bit, you could pick up 2 different kinds of weapons. Like you could pick up, like I actually use a wand and what do they call it? It's basically like a shield, right? It's a small shield. Can't think of the name right now. They call it. But and then I can switch to a quarterstaff, and the quarterstaff, or not a quarterstaff, but it's just like a regular staff, and I can switch to that like anytime. So like I can just switch on the fly and use the wand, and the wand has a different ability on it compared to the staff. So I'll get a new skill when I switch to the wand versus using the staff because it has a skill associated with that wand. And then there's different wands that will drop that will have different skills attached to them, and you kind of learn those by the names. You probably start seeing the same names drop over and over. You'll be like this weapon drops. Oh, it'll be like da 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 of this, and it'll have a skill in it, and it'll always be a crossbow with that skill, and it'll have a certain name, and you can look for those as well.
You know what? The next quarterstaff, because I see more of those pop up with the skill on it. The next one I'll pick up, and then I'll try to switch and see how it goes. You know what I mean? And kind of
You just basically make sure, like with like a staff, I think for the most part you're gonna need some probably intelligence and maybe some dexterity. But if you have enough in those in your skill tree, you can use them.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if it's too late or if I should at level, 32. So, yeah. But I've been seeing more of them drop, so they probably want to utilize those more.
Beside like just talking about like the hardcore type stuff, the game and how the stuff works. The game itself, I just find it like a really good looking game. I remember posting I think it was like last week in the Discord. I took a little video, and Discord maybe make it really small, right? Because I don't have Nitro. But you're on this like prison. It's on an island, right? And the bottom floor, it's an abandoned prison. And some of the walls have broke out, and the water's coming in. So when the waves crash and hit the building, they run into the floor, and then the waves are moving across the bottom of the floor, and you're walking through it. And they'll actually slow your character down and stuff too as you're walking. So when the waves hit, the water runs across the floor, and you're slowing down as you're walking through it. Then the water recedes. Then the next wave comes in, and it comes rolling in. It's really neat. I was at a level this afternoon where you go in this like old tomb, and it's all gold. All the walls, everything are all gold. The floor is gold, and it's all reflecting and everything. It's really, really neat looking level. But there's a nice variety in things as well. Like the new Act 4 puts you in like a tropical area, so that's it was a nice change. Change of pace instead of being so dark and dreary.
Right.
You're in some tropical area. And you have your typical biome stuff, right? So like the first stuff you did was kind of dark, like in a forest kind of thing, kind of dark and dreary. You're dealing with werewolves and this and that. Then you get to that second area, and you're dealing with like sand, right? And you're dealing with a lot of like scorpions, Egyptian theme type things, And then the third act, you'll get into like a jungle biome, and you're gonna deal with a lot of like stuff from like a swamp and jungles, and you can be dealing with monkeys and other stuff that are going to be coming after you. And then the fourth act, which is the newest one, the newest update, that's more tropical. So you go across these islands, and you can pick whatever islands in whatever order you want to go to, and you're just basically trying to find these treasure chest pieces, these maps, I guess, and then you're trying to find some other stuff too, and then you're trying to find this weapon and piece it together. Is the whole idea behind the fourth act. And so that's fun. But yeah, so like each biome is a little different, and it breaks the game up too nicely. But even then, like actually after the campaign, they give you 3 little I can't remember what they called them, like little side quests basically. And basically in the campaign, right, it's still left open because the game is not officially finished, right? But what they said basically by what's going on, like we need the help. The first town that we're in, that first area, Act 1, it's like a small town again. It's like in the forest area. You have to go back to that town, and you got to recruit them people to help you. So you need all the basic groups that you're working through in the different acts to come join as like one army. Kind of like something like Lord of the Rings, like when they had all the armies come together. So you have to go to these different sections, and like you have to help them again, and to get them to come help you at the end of the act. And that's where the game's going to end right now in the fourth act. So it's like you're pulling all these armies together. So you're pulling that sand army, that mobile caravan that you had.
That's cool. I like the mobile caravan.
Yeah, you're recruiting that army. You're recruiting the old town army in the forest, and then in the new section in the jungle, you're recruiting that army. It's like an old tribe, right? So the goal right now, side quest, is for me to bring all these armies together and have them have my back basically before we go fight this last major fight, which would be the next chapter. So that's gonna kind of
Okay.
end. It ends there. But
Yeah. Sweet, man. Yeah, I finished Act 2. I'm ready to go to 3, but before I go to Act 3, um, you don't have to. This is optional, but you can do this thing called the Trial of Secamas or whatever, and Secamas, however you say it. And yeah, like I think I unlocked it at probably 25 or whatever. Yeah, because I think I asked a streamer, hey, what's that guild chest or whatever it was? What's it called? There's like a chest in there that you get, like once you get into the trials or whatever.
there's a relic stash you can do.
The relic stash. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like you're always going to get stuff for your relic stash or whatever that you use for these trials, and they're not the best thing ever. But I'll say this, like I have a hell of a time with them, like especially these spikes coming out of the ground. Those just get me every time. Yeah. It's like a timing thing, and I'm like rolling around on the ground like a freaking stupid ass, like rolling into every fucking spike, like, and like I was having troubles with my PC yesterday where nothing wanted to respawn correctly and it stuttered, and yeah, it just like was the worst. Like Mayo, I just wanted to like throw the keyboard. It was like a a Call of Duty rage moment with a controller, but except with a keyboard, and mouse. But yeah, I was like, oh, what the fuck, like, yeah, the PC's chugging, and yeah, I had to go in and and like lower the settings, and oh man, it was just driving me nuts. But restart the game, restart Steam, and but I think when I lowered a couple things, like it definitely ran a lot better. So I think I even had to put the water quality to even low or medium or something. But yeah, it's a beautiful game. It looks great, plays great. I love all the different biomes. Like I don't think there's any biomes I've been in where I'm like, this is kind of lame or whatever. Like, no, I think they're all cool. I like the sand one a lot. That Egyptian style is pretty awesome. So I love the openness of it, and and then you're going to go down and do like a dungeon run, in a couple different places within like that Act 2 or whatever. Yeah, so
I would definitely
cool stuff.
recommend those trials when you can, like before you go to the next zone, because what will actually unlock is you get like a secondary class, and so that's on your skill tree. It's in the very center, so you'll have like two choices, and they have pretty big perks to them. So like, I'm not sure what yours are for your class, but like the one I did for my necromancer, my witch, it was like you could become like a blood, like a blood. I can't remember what they call it now. Yeah, like a blood mage or something. Right? But basically, that ability made it so, like we were talking about that earlier. So every time you use the skill, it used your health instead of your mana. But what happens is every time you kill an enemy, they drop a health jar. So but you get to double the amount of health that you have. So say at that point in the game you had 800 health, Gunny, you can go up to 1600 health, and you can just keep grabbing those jars by killing enemies, and they just keep dropping jars, and you can go up to 1600 health, and it would drop down as you're using your skills. It could drop down to 1000, and you're still above the 800, so you're still like showing full health and your use abilities, but you're more tanky that way. And then there's like another one that will use more like elemental stuff and stuff like that. So, and then that has its own skill tree too. Like each zone has a challenge like that, each act.
Yeah.
And when you do those, you can put points in that skill tree. That's the only time you can, is by completing those. So there's this whole little tree in the middle. Like you'll get some big perk for your character. I'm not sure what it is. You're gonna get 2 choices or 3 choices. I take it back. There'll be 3 options, and it's gonna really change the way your character plays. But it's gonna be beneficial. So and you get.
Yeah, I think I can get through it. I think the one thing for anybody that goes in and says, "Oh, this is the trial thing Gunny was talking about." Well, okay, keep in mind that there's a different health bar that you're going to use. So don't stand there and be like, oh, go kill the boss in these 2 little bosses, right? Which are easy to kill. But when they're throwing projectiles and these other little fucking crab-like things are kind of coming at you and nipping at your feet, remember, they're doing damage. So you got to keep an eye on that health bar, which I totally did not know anything about when I first played it. And I went, well, how the fuck did I die when I got to the main boss? Like, it's a different health bar, so it's white. So keep in mind it's not red or whatever. Like, yeah. And then yesterday, Mayo's like, hey, I think I could jump in and help you with the trials. I was like, oh, awesome. So we get in yesterday, and I noticed when we jumped in, and I was staying back, and Mayo was just electrocuting the crap out of every enemy out there. I'm like, yeah, take that voltage, buddy, right? And I looked down, and like I was like, what the hell? I've got 444 health, right? When I should have 880 or whatever it was. And I was like, huh? So then we get to the second trial thing, right, in the section, and then I kind of stood back because I think I locked Mayo behind this wall. I was like, Mayo, what happens if I press this button and then I'm like, oops, I guess you have to go that way, right? Like, and I was being super careful. Right? Like, I'm not going to take any damage, and I want to make it to the end. And so I guess you share it because something, right? Because Mayo was obviously taking damage, and it dropped me down to like nothing.
Because I went in there and I had we were looking at that. I had 2,100 health, and you only had 400 health or something like that.
Yeah, and then I swear I just stood there and I lost all
our base health. But it must share something somehow. I'm not really sure, honestly, how all that works when you try to do a trial with two people. But yeah.
But it makes sense, right? Because otherwise, if I just said, Mayo, just go get him, right? And then you can be like, all right, Gunny, I've killed every enemy. Now find the exit. I just walk to the exit, and then that's it, right? So it kind of makes sense. It would be like a cheat, I guess, if I never took any damage.
Because I had so much more health or whatever.
Yeah. Like, you had a ton, and I only had, my max was 800, and it brought me down, I mean, literally to, freaking, it was 200 or 150 health, and I went, huh? I took 0 damage. So anyway, yeah, and then one more thing that I want to touch on Path of Exile here. This thing that I really like, I think it's just a cool part of the game, and you'll see it throughout various levels. I call them rifts, but the actual name of them are called the Abyss, and it's just an area within, could be a dungeon. I've even seen them outside or whatever, just out in the
they're in
Act 2 areas.
One somewhere.
Yeah, and could be 2 or 3 of them, right, within Act 2 or what? Just every freaking place seems to have them, and some have more enemies than not, and so basically this this greenish goo-like stuff is looks like magma running through, right? But more kryptonite style type.
Like a crack in the ground, and it's green glowing from underneath it, and then enemies come up out of it, and they're infected or whatever, and then it can also infect any enemies on the level, right? So if you don't clear the area first before you get too close to that, those enemies will get infected by that goo or whatever you want to call it, and they kind of get enraged, right? They move a little faster and attack faster, and so you got to deal with that too. So then you can get overwhelmed real quick if you ain't careful.
Yeah. So I always forget about that, right? Because if you, like you said, right, you kind of got to let them lead. Well, it depends on how powerful you are in your armor or whatever. Because I've done that where I'm I've rolled too close to the freaking emergence hole, is what I'll call it. And then boom, and you'll hear the audible sound, right? The sound will start this I can't even describe it, and you're like, what's that for? And then all these fucking and then 150 enemies come flying out of there, and it's all kinds of stuff from hell. It just goes
absolutely nuts. Yeah.
And then and then it's time to get the frick out of the way. I start dropping grenades. I love my grenades, by the way. I've just got explosive grenades. Those are level 8. So, and you can drop 3 pretty quick, and and then I'll hit them with a flashbang as well. Which I don't think it does anything, Mayo, but I still use the F key and here's a flash. I think it's supposed to a chance to stun, but I think I'd finally today put more shards on it, and hopefully it's actually taking effect of some sort. So, but anyway, I might change that to the ice wall. So, but yeah, that's cool. What happens in some levels, it's not every level, where let's say if you do that, right, usually in the chest will pop out a pretty cool looking chest, and you're not going to find like a rare epic. I guess you will find sometimes, right? But a lot of times you're going to get some magic item that could be useful or it could not be. You could find a staff when you're a freaking, warrior or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had a mix of items that come out of the ones I've done. I think it depends like how far you can get into it, right? 'Cause, like if you there's like 3 or 4 different ones that open up, and some of them will be like it'll have like yellow writing on it when it comes up, and that will
That's the
guarantee
one you can desecrate, right? Yeah, yeah. Those are cool. I've only found 2 so far that and I've desecrated both of those for better stats. And I haven't used them, Mayo. And I haven't even used them. They're just kind of sitting there in storage because I've got an actual, epic or whatever they call it. Like I've got the orange crossbow that I've been using. Yeah, the elite. So then, I've been using it more.
Rares, the rares can actually be better than uniques in the stats. It's just I think what changes them, right, is the amount buffs. I guess they come like
one of the
suffixes and
main
prefixes, right? Like so, a lot of times, like the orange, the uniques will have like 6 or 7 like abilities on it, perks. I guess if you want to call it, and the rare will only have like 4, right? But you can make a rare have 7.
Sure. And then, so that rare orange, and the only reason I haven't changed it in the last 8 levels is because I think on two of the fun abilities on there are the faster reload and rapid fire or something like that. So when I got my frag rounds out, I'm just like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? It's like, so even though it's only doing like whatever 16 to 24 damage or whatever that ratio is, the other ones that I have are like, okay, well, it just doesn't have the fast fire, you know what I mean? Faster reload or whatever. So it feels so much slower, you know what I mean? Even though it's doing more damage.
It, right? And then you're like,
I'm so used to that. Slow. Yeah. And then you can get rapid fire shards that you can put into your skill gems. So then it even makes it even faster. So it's like, okay, but I'd feel like a downgrade if I went to that desecrated weapon. So, I don't know. So it kind of like, hopefully I can find something, even, I don't care if it's magic, but if it's got like the faster fire on it or whatever and faster reload, then definitely I'm going to continue using it off the thing that gets me to desecrate the weapon and just make it more powerful. So that's my goal on that one. But I was just going to mention about the Abyss, little things that you kind of run into where you get the chest or you get the ability to dive deep into hell, which is like, it takes you to another dungeon. So, and I think I've completed a couple of those before, but I did one the other day. I think it was on Saturday, Mayo, where I'm like, okay, pretty easy. I've got this, right? It's probably just another smaller area that's going to get you better stuff, right? So you thought you were done, but then boom, you can go down into the Abyss and do more shit down there. And that's kind of cool. But I kind of got tricked where I was just kind of standing in one spot and like holding down on the left mouse button. I'm like, all right, let's get this over. Come on, like I'm going to do this. And then he killed me or whatever. Just like a regular freaking trash mob guy or whatever. I'm like,
it's actually a boss in that area you can go hunt down, and he gives you some stuff. He'll give you the things to desecrate stuff, your weapons. You get some of those drops in there pretty regularly. And then there's actually one that can desecrate armor as well. So you can actually do the same thing to your armors. And so, you can find some of them enemies down there and get some better stuff. Kind of reminds me of like the special zones like in Diablo. I don't know if you ever played like on Diablo 3. I played 3, right? They had this like whimsical zone where it was like all rainbows, happy, and like, killing everything, and it's all bloody, but it's all like bright green grass, and there's rainbows and clouds, and it's like this little happy music, and you're like killing everything. There's blood everywhere. It's this stark contrast. As you're going through that level. It's something like that, right? Where I wish they had a few things like that. Like that's something I could appreciate in Diablo is like on 3. I don't know if we had this or not, but the little 3 had that little goblin that would appear, and you'd have a bunch of money.
Goblin.
Yeah, and you would chase him down and try to kill him, and you're like run along. I know, like Path of Exile, you have the hunt, right? And that hunt, if you follow a hunt, It's like a little like
Yes,
spirit.
the white
That thing would
spirit thing. Yeah.
drag you right into a big group of enemies in minute form.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause you can't attack it until it comes to form, but it waits until you find like a big group of enemies. And for me, it kept taking me to the abysmal section. You know, like so I'd like clear
Yeah.
up the
And
map.
those other
And
enemies are not like Diablo. They'll actually
so
go
then I'm
a
like,
lot further. So then you'll just be inundated. Like they will follow you for a long period of time.
yeah.
Like the other
And
enemies
that's
that are on
rough
the screen,
to
you
run
think you're going to
through.
outrun them, but they don't.
When you get a whole angry horde from the abyss, and then you're trying to fight a hunt at the same time, which is like a boss fight. So you're dealing with two things at once, and it becomes too much. You usually just die that way. But
Yeah, I died. I died yesterday because I was following the white spirit thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just keep rolling and pass a whole bunch of enemies or whatever. But I forgot this is not Diablo. They actually keep chasing you or whatever. They've got a long follow time or whatever you want to call it, right? So
yeah,
especially the ones that run a little faster, especially in Act 2. Maybe Act 1's a little bit different where they might be slower, but yeah, they all caught up with me, and it didn't take me to an abyssal area, but yeah, like I was like, God, like I was, I can only drop 3 grenades, and it does a lot of damage, but it wasn't enough to, get me out of a tight spot. So, but okay, Mayo, I did go back, and so what I did was I fought all those enemies. You know what? The spirit actually waited for me. It waited until I caught up to it. So I
yeah,
went,
it'll wait
oh, okay, that's
sometimes. It'll
cool.
give you some
Yeah,
time, yeah, but it'll keep looking, right? It waits, and it won't form until it gets a big group. You know, it kind of wants you
yeah,
to
yeah.
chase it, and it'll like do it. But yeah, if you kind of kill them, it'll wait. Then you have so much time, and it'll disappear. Like it'll kind of like evaporate. So you have like so much time though. Like yeah, you can clear the enemies, but it will like kind of start to disappear if you don't kind of get close to it. So you have to stay within so close to it. And if you keep chasing it, right, but when you keep trying to get close to it, it keeps moving away from you. You know, so it forces you
Yeah.
to go into a group of enemies.
Right. So yeah, I'm only good with one group of enemies at a time. So keep that in mind, guys. You don't have to follow the freaking spirit thing and just keep running away from enemies because they'll catch up to you, and then you're fighting 2 groups and then you're dead. Unless you're super extremely powerful, but yeah, just a pro tip on that one. Enough of Path of Exile 2. Boy, I think we certainly enjoying that game. So the yeah, and who knows? I'm probably going to do the same, man. Like I should be playing Borderlands 4 over on the Xbox. I got to force myself to go play more of it. I'm still at level freaking 7 or whatever in the beginning of the game. So, yeah, what the hell? What am I playing as? Freaking Rafa, whatever his name is, the soldier guy. So, yeah. But yeah, that's where I'm at over there on that. And what else did I play? I played some. I don't know if I played. So Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. So that came to 1.0. That came to Xbox. I don't know if it came to PlayStation 5, but I'm going to assume that it came to both consoles at once.
No, this is Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, not Deep Rock Galactic. I heard another podcast mention it. And they were like,
different.
that's a game
Just a different game.
forever. Completely different game. Like Deep Rock Galactic Survivors is kind of like your Vampire Survivor game. You know, it's like you're not really doing attacking and stuff like that. That's a better comparison. So it's like a spin-off of Deep Rock Galactic. So one podcast I was listening to, they were like mixing them up a little bit, not realizing that this is a completely different kind of game. So that one had gone 1.0 a long time ago.
Yeah, this is more of your top-down bullet hell survival, collect crap, mine through little areas and, complete tasks. And, but yeah, I want to say I played last week. So maybe it was before the 1.0. But there was still some updates because if I take a couple months break or whatever, if I get stuck on Path of Exile, Slay the Spire on the Steam Deck, for a couple months, then I won't play, Deep Rock Survivors is what I'm going to call it. But yeah, it seems like when I come back every month, because I think it's still in early access up until last week. So maybe I need to pick it up and play a little bit more tonight, see how the 1.0 is, but probably not going to be much different than the week before. So yeah, but I like where it's at, man. I feel like I can go in And this is a game you could just go in, hey, do a run. I think I'm going to say, I don't pay attention to the time, but probably 15 minutes, right? You can do a simple run. And, I'm just trying to, I don't know why this is, man, but I want to take those 4 characters and just kind of level them up. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to, go into extreme difficulty and try to complete something. I want to have an enjoyable experience. And yeah, I'm just leveled up my characters, the gunner and the miner and the whatever the other guys are called. So I'll go into a simple run. They've got another option in there. I forgot what it's called, but it's pretty much the same exact thing. I don't know what you're gaining from it. So, because you're just doing like another run, right? So, on whether it's hard or expert, which I don't know if I've unlocked expert or not. So, they've got the different biomes, which I think one of them I haven't even touched. You know what I mean? So I feel like, okay, it's probably going to be a harder biome. So I'm just going to take my gunner and, kind of go, start from the, just the beginning or whatever. And then even then, if you go from the beginning map, you could still choose, easy, medium, hard, or whatever. So I usually just go with medium.
I can't remember what the difference was. I remember I made it to the new sections where I could change it up, but I can't remember what the difference was.
Yeah, I don't remember what there's a second thing or whatever. It feels like the same thing. I don't know if you're just earning more, more points or whatever to put into, defenses and health. And there's like 20 different things you can do, right? There's, I almost called it evasion, but, there's luck, just like a Vampire Survivor thing, right? Of, except you can put points in at the very end of the game, right? Like, towards your main character's build. Which I think I've just been doing random stuff. Whatever is highlighted, if I complete a run, right, I'll just go in and go, okay, I can put, more points into health or whatever it was, or shield or something, you know what I mean? So I'm not like trying to be strategic about it at all. But yeah, there's that. And another game I picked up a couple of games on Steam. They had a sale last week. I don't remember what the other game was, but the one that I really wanted to get, and I played a demo of this months and months ago, called Crow Country. So, if you like PlayStation from the 1990s and, old games like, for the early ones like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, where it's that like almost that top down, well, I almost want to say like that old Metal Gear style, right? So is Metal Gear Solid, or I don't know what the Metal Gear series was. It just had that same style of, the camera, the isometric view, but, obviously this game is a newer game, and I like when it starts out, it'll say 2025 or whatever, and then it like it just shows a number going backwards, right? And then boom, it's 1990. And you play as this female cop, and you drive to this, I don't even know why, but you drive to this like amusement park, I guess, to investigate whatever, something's going on at the old amusement park. And when you come in and like, it's like, when you go to the trunk of the car, right? And you'll whatever, press A. I think I've just been playing on Steam Deck, and and it'll say there's something important in here or whatever. Oh, you found a box of ammo. And when you pick that box of ammo, it's like it'll play this audible sound, and it's obviously from like a 1990 style type, audio cue or whatever. So it's like kind of cool, right? It definitely feel like you're playing a game from 1990. And so far the controls are good on, just playing on Steam Deck. I do want to try it with a mouse and keyboard and see, if I have a better experience with it. But so far just playing with the controllers, well, I guess it is a controller on the Steam Deck. It's running just fine. I only have one complaint, but I'll touch on that later. And it's more of a self complaint, but I feel like the game's has a pretty good progression where you'll come in and, and there's somebody you can even speak to that's been injured, and you'll go to this, you'll make it to this room pretty quick where it's got a fireplace, right? And that's where you save the game. So if you quit out before, you're going to have to start from the very beginning, which again, you're not putting in a lot of time or whatever. Maybe the time you are trying to explore everything and read every sign on the wall, or, oh, what's this? It's a scarecrow or whatever. This thing is a giant potato head, and like, it looks to be turned around or whatever. So, you're going to probably do that at the very beginning of the game. But yeah, you'll soon find that room, and, and you'll be able to save it. And you're picking out ammo boxes from trash cans and stuff like that, because you're like, reach your hand in there and find out what's in there. You know what I mean? It's like, there might be something useful, like, yeah, totally reminds me of something early PlayStation. And so, yeah, and I feel like also, like, you'll see like this sign on the ground, right? What is this? It's a bloody numbers 2106 or whatever. This might be useful, like, so you got to remember that 4-digit number. So that'll be good for, whether it's a keypad or, or something you're going to be able to use, right? So, to access another area or something. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this game. I feel like, yeah, there's a puzzle in the game. It feels like easy puzzles to me, right? So as long as you're exploring everything within the room, like, I even entered this room that's got like this super simple, I guess it's a carousel or water or something, like, and so I'm in the room and it's like telling me that, there's a broken piece, but anything, you can find to fit in its place or whatever, would be able to move this wheel or something, right? But I know, like, okay, I know if I find it, it won't be in this room. It'll probably be somewhere else, right? I think I'll probably know what that thing is, right? That's equal to, I'm trying to remember what the hell it was now. It wasn't an egg, but it was talking about eggs or something. But okay, if I find something similar to it, I know I can come back, and I'll find it and then put it in a slot, just like an old Resident Evil game, boom, and whatever, it'll be active, and, something will happen. So, I feel like I already did that stuff in the demo as well. So you got a pretty good, healthy demo gameplay as well. So recommend that. Right. If you want to purchase the game. Yeah, I don't know. It just brings back the, that freaking vibes of the 90s and stuff, of old time gaming, man. It's cool. Highly, highly recommend it. So definitely check.
Sometimes I get in the mood for a good old time game. Sometimes it feels like, I was thinking today, I kind of felt like firing up Super Mario Wonder. I haven't played that in a while, just because a good old side scroller Mario, like that, bright, vibrant colors and just smooth animation. Just good old Mario.
Man, you know what I also think about, like, some early gaming memories of, was it Super Mario Brothers 2 or 3? It might have been 2 or whatever. And just thinking back, right, like, to my early childhood, just watching that probably on what, a 720p, freaking television.
That, probably 460 or something.
I mean, just being blown away, right, by, I think definitely going from the NES to the SNES was like, whoa, you know what I mean? It was like the colors, right? And I think the colors just blew me away or whatever. I mean, obviously the graphics, and it's a Nintendo, and it was like, think about that today, man. I think, like, man, I felt like I was watching a freaking, like, OLED TV back then, I'm sure if somebody showed it to me on one of those old style CRTs or whatever, I'd be like, ew, that's gross or whatever. But I thought
it would look all fuzzy. You'd be like, I need new glasses because it looks so fuzzy. Right.
But yeah, it was so clear and vibrant back in the day. Like, but I just wonder, like, man, that would be so cool if you can take, like, if they took like a Super Mario Brother 2 or 3 or whatever. And 3 was cool too, right? Lots of flying and shit. But man, and you took that and, like, I would say remake it, right? Don't remaster it, but if they remade it or whatever, and you're able to, hopefully one day Nintendo, we're able to actually, well, I guess you could do it with the freaking Switch or whatever, like if it's docked, but just have a true native, like, thing, and they just surprise the shit out of us, put it on, Steam and consoles or whatever, and just be, I think people would just be blown away by that, right? Like, I guess, like, yeah, because I mean, I guess even if you remastered it, it would just be, maybe that would be too much work or something, right? So, yeah, that would be so cool. So, people can experience what we were experiencing back in the early 90s or something. But anyway, I digress. Anything else you've played, Mayo?
Not really. I played a little bit of Victor VRAN. That was, I just want to kind of compare it because it's a game like it's a game like Path of Exile and Diablo. It's an older game. It's been around for quite a while. It was okay. I mean, it has its own little element. It has some things that you can't do in other ones. Like you have a jump, so you're able to jump around. So that's kind of interesting. You can jump over ledges and you can jump over like obstacles, or when the enemies attack, you can actually jump over their attack. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a typical game like Diablo still. And I found it interesting. It's an old game. It's been around since like 2016. It did have kind of a cool like narrator, and he was like the bad guy, right? And so he's like talking to you as your character as like a voice. And so he's like talking to you, and he's kind of like talking crap to you, right? So like your name's like Victor VRAN, but he calls you Vicky, so he's like, I think I'm going to call you Vicky, and he's like not taking you seriously as like a monster hunter. And so like, that was kind of fun. So like, it's got a little bit of humor and stuff involved, but it's a little bit slower pace and stuff like that. But it's early on in the game. I played only the first boss, and
okay.
But I found it enjoyable. It was fun. Like, definitely worth playing if you don't want to spend much money and you want to play an ARPG like that. Definitely worth picking it up, and you can enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, and I probably saw even my first. I was just going to mention also because we're so much into PoE 2, and I even saw Vengeful Jedi playing Grim Dawn yesterday, which I was like, wait, more ARPGs! Like I'm just inundated with these games, like and I'm I mean, yeah, like I was like I haven't seen this one. Like I've got enough on my plate. I don't need to play Grim Dawn, but yeah, it was still cool to watch. Like even though that game was from 2016, like still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good looking game as well. There's another newer ones called like Titan Quest 2. I had the original Titan Quest. That was a pretty fun one as well. That one looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the one that's been keeping my eye on it, or my eye has been on it, is this is more of a Hades style type game, but Raven's Watch, I believe it's what it's called. It's only like $10 or $15. It's pretty cheap, so I might pick that up over on the Xbox and play that in the living room. So and just kind of break up my PoE Borderlands time. But yeah, and Hades 2, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. There's something about it, like like I feel like those areas are too small for me. Like I don't have the whatever cognitive ability, fucking patience or whatever it is, right? Where it's like, I know I gotta, shoot forward and shoot left or whatever, but I always end up going the wrong direction. So, you know what I mean? And then you're hitting a spike or the enemy's still hitting you or something. But again, I just have this hate for spikes, man, Yeah, take those out of the trials of Path of Exile, dude, please. Like, you're killing me. I'm not good at the timing thing of now I can do like a platformer maybe, but yeah, not something like isometrical or top down. Like, yeah, that's just gonna drive me freaking crazy.
Yeah, luckily that's the only time you have to use it. So like in Path of Exile, the only time you have to deal with those spikes is during those trials. Like there's been no other time I have ran across that. And like I said, I am now in endgame, and I haven't had to do anything like that. So just that one time you get through that one set, and then you'll be all right, Gunny.
All right. But anyway, I think it's you know what? Before it's news time, Mail, AZ the Realist, who's been following us a long time, he might go back from this Xbox Life days or whatever. Maybe he got us, yeah, he's been a long time follower with us on Facebook and Discord. So he does have a question for me, you, and Jesus. But since Jesus is not on, we're gonna make a video game, okay? So, and I know he asked this question a couple weeks ago, and I was already thinking, AZ, that I was already thinking like open world, and I'm not thinking like Path of Exile. Like, no, I was thinking more because I do like, Far Cry series and, sometimes Assassin's Creed games or whatever. Like I always think that of those as, open worlds or whatever. So yeah, I was thinking of like, so he said like, what platforms are going to be on? Like, I guess it could be on all three, or console, PC, whatever. We could just say it's a handheld game if we wanted to. Yeah, like, is it a indie double or AAA kind of game? Does it have no budget? But we got to be reasonable about it. We can't just say it's GTA where it's $1 billion game or whatever. But I guess it could be, right? So, and then who develops it, and then who produces it. So, I was going to go. I'm going to pick first, man. I'm just going to say, well, I guess we got to say, what is this game? Is it an indie, AA, or AAA? So, I'm already thinking like it's a AA game, open world. So,
okay,
like I was thinking of like, I don't know. I was just the first thing that kind of came to my mind was like, that'd be cool to kind of make my own Far Cry game or something, and like because I never played the first one. I don't even know if I played the second. Man, I think I did play the second, and then I played all of them, right? Yeah, but I was thinking of like but not be on the AAA, like thing, right? Just a lower budget than that, but like but I would say I almost want to make it to where it's like it's definitely going to have a baby mode, right? Like, yeah, I don't want it to be like what am I thinking of? Is there green hell? There's all these different like well, no, yeah, and then there's like the forest, right? Like I guess those are games that are kind of in the same AA space, right? I'm sure you've seen them on Steam or gameplay or whatever. And I guess they do have a difficulty spike, right? And like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of it's going to be more like, hey, this is going to take place in, where would it take place, man? Because I was thinking like, the forest, whatever the follow up was, that was more, Wyoming or like Montana or something. But yeah, would it be a shooter? Can you carry clubs, right? Like, yeah. What do you think, man? Are we on the right track here with this game, or I don't know if I really have a theme for it yet,
yeah, I mean, I think you're on a decent track. I was just my mind right immediately I was trying to think of who would have make the game, and when you think of AA, just in my mind right away, Double Fine is somebody I've always liked their games, and they've always been like kind of like AA, not AAA stuff, but they've always made some games I've always liked. I think I would like to have somebody like Double Fine make it, but
and see, we got to just disagree on that, Mail, because I don't like Double Fine games. So sorry, really? I just couldn't get into. No, I just couldn't get into whatever that last one they had, which was, I don't know if it was I guess it was a successor to. Right. I mean, they had Stack. They had a. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the game that they came out on. Was it? Damn, I don't know if it came with the Series X or it came at that late Xbox One days or whatever. But right, they did it back on the Xbox 360. I didn't care for it, so can't think of the name of it. But it was the platformer, right? So I thought that was boring.
They had Psychonauts.
Psychonauts, that's it. That's what I'm thinking of. I never played the original, and then when the whatever Psychonauts 2 came out, I'm assuming they called it number 2, and then whatever that came to Game Pass, and I was like, okay, I don't know about this. Like, yeah, it just didn't grab me even after playing 2 hours. I was like, I've had enough. Well. Oh, they make Gang Beasts?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta say that game was really, yeah. I like the ragdoll physics of the Gang Beasts, so that was good. I didn't know they made that.
Yeah, they also did Brutal Legend.
Oh, that's another good one. I forgot about that. That was a cool game on the 360 with Jack Black, yeah.
And Costume Quest, which I've seen a couple times. I think that game looks interesting, but I never really played it.
Yeah, I played it. I think I played the first one, and they came out with 2 of them. So yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, I think cost was. I think it was more, for younger age. I don't know, but yeah,
It felt
just
like
my
it.
opinion.
I
But
couldn't really get into it, but it looked fun.
yeah, it was cool, especially to play around Halloween time. So that's when it actually came out. I remember the first one. So I remember people streaming it on, when Twitch was just coming around, and Mixer and stuff. So yeah, good old Mixer, rest in peace, Microsoft. um, but an old streaming service there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with that. Kind of my own version between the Far Cry and the some other world style type games. But it's definitely going to be like, I'm going to say definitely a first person view, right? So I kind of want to show off the environment. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. And then who develops produce it? You're going with Double Fine. Well, I feel like they're still, even though, let's assume they were not under the Microsoft umbrella, right? Which I don't know if they still are. There was some kind of change, but yeah. I'm gonna go with damn, I'm trying to think of somebody out of the wheelhouse, but hey, let's go with Square Enix. Why not, right?
I can't think of who it is. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah.
I'm gonna go maybe Capcom. Maybe Capcom, I think, because I've always loved Capcom's not only their games, but also their cutscenes are like, it always looks like they put a lot of heart and soul into these cutscenes, right? So, whatever games they're making. So they're always very top quality, and yeah, some are funny and quirky, and yeah. So I'd go with Capcom, I think. It's more of that's more of the AAA developer. So I don't think I'd want to trust EA with it. And they'd be like, you need to put microtransactions in it or something, or yeah,
right.
You need to. Yeah, like you need to sell every weapon's going to cost real money or some bullshit, So yeah, then they'll be like, I don't know, the not Unreal Engine, but whatever they're going to try and use is going to be like, sorry, that's broken. You're going to need more money from you guys over at Horrible Gamer. So more development time. It's getting delayed. So no, I'd rather go with a smaller, I say a smaller developer, but I don't know. I trust Capcom, man. They do good work over there. So I don't know. I just can't think. I'm just always thinking of the AAA guys, So want the game to look good. So, but there's that. So what are we calling it? Do we have a game for it? No. Mayo and let's see. I'm trying to think here. Yeah. We'll come back to that one. But anyway, it's news time. It's news time, Mayo. It's news time. What do you say?
It's news time. Beep, 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 beep. I'm gonna fill in for Gunny over here.
Right. Yeah. Since he's not here, he's checked out already. So yeah, in our first article here, we've got Fortnite's new voice chat has resulted in thousands of people being banned. So following the Delulu modes launch, Epic has taken action against accounts violating community guidelines within its proximity chat. So this past week saw the launch of Fortnite's new Battle Royale mode, Delulu, which I don't know about that mode. A take on Fortnite's familiar formula. The catch here is that you can talk to anyone whether squatted up or not, thanks to the new proximity chat. While this adds a nice layer of sociality to the game, it also resulted in an increase in discrimination and harassment, which led developer led to Epic Games banning thousands of accounts before the weekend's close out. So Delulu is exactly what you think if you're
a game where you're trying to kill each other basically, and beat each other's squad. There's gonna be some trash talking, right? And some taunting.
Yeah, and you figure you've got
into the mix too, right? Or young teenagers, or like even like 10, 11, 12-year-olds. They're gonna be saying some stuff probably. Yeah,
right. And I'm thinking even 8 or 9 or 7. I'm thinking I assume even younger, than even that, right? And then you've got 30-year-olds still playing the game, and 35, 40. I see them streaming it, like these 35, 40-year-old, men, women, right? Well, it's a popular game, so why not? Like, it's for such a wide variety of, like different, audience. So, yeah. But it's likely betraying there can only be one winner. Anyone you see, thanks to proximity chat, as you near another player, you can form a sort of temporary group chat to strategize as you play. This seems like it could be a fabulous idea, particularly for players who tend to play solo but still want to coordinate. So unfortunately, this new feature has caused an influx of players' complaints and discriminations, harassment. According to an IGN report, players on the game's subreddit have shared mixed experiences, with many discussing the bigotry they face because of their accent, their age, or because they're a woman. Developer Epic Games took to the X September 21st to remind players to report chats and violation community roles, stating the thousands have been banned. Yeah, I'll say that I don't know. I don't want to say to Epic like, no, this is a bad idea or whatever, but it's kind of like, we saw it coming, right? Like, the game's been perfectly fine for the last 5-6 fucking years or whatever, right? until you added this feature. And I'm sure, I wonder too if it's probably defaulted, right? Where, if you're on console, I think if you're running this on an iOS or Android device, you probably will get a notification to say enable microphone, right? Or whatever. It's probably going to pop up. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you're gonna be like, what? Like, why is it asking me now? I've been playing this on here for years and it's never asked me that. Where it's probably defaulted, on, well, I don't know. What I'd have to figure that out and see how it is on consoles or PC or whatever. But it probably is like automatic, and if you've already allowed access, 2 years ago, you're gonna be in proximity. People are gonna hear you. It's I don't know. Maybe I should just try this out to see if it really is toxic, or I don't know. Yes, it is bad as it sounds or whatever. So, I think if you're playing solos, you're not gonna. So I remember back, was it DayZ? I was watching. I used to really like watching that game. Even though I bought it and didn't much care for it, it was, But anyway, I think that was just like a. What would you call that game, Daisy? Just more of an open world, I guess you can squat up with other people, but you just kind of go around.
I never really played it very much. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to call it a looter shooter, but yeah, I guess you are collecting stuff to, make yourself, because ammo is scarce in that game or what have you. But yeah, everything's far and few between in DayZ. I feel like I got 5 bullets. Oh my God. I've been playing for 2 hours. So,
right.
But that one I remember had proximity chat, and it was always fun to watch a streamer, run into somebody who's, talking about killing their mother or something. It was like, oh gosh, you're gonna get banned on Twitch or whatever, might want to mute the guy or something. But yeah, like open microphone, proximity chat. So yeah, people would get real toxic on there. So saying some horrible things. So I don't know. Yeah. I guess if they keep it to that one mode and there's they keep the warding on there for, a younger audience, right? Then that's okay. Cause I think it'll be more problems for Epic in the future, so.
Yeah. They can probably take it out pretty easy though, right? Just as easy as they added it.
I think so. I think they will, right? They've added other things to the game over the years. And they've tested out some things, not just the voice chat thing, but yeah. And then they went, well, okay, that didn't work out, so we'll just remove it. So, but
the nice thing is they can change things up so quick over there. You know what I mean? Like, they, on top of, they can like copy other modes and games, but they can also come up with their own stuff. And just, if it doesn't, they can pivot so easily, so, just completely change, take it out of the game.
Right. Yeah. I hate to say it, Mayo. I just have to do it. I say, don't do it, guys. I don't know. It's not my company. It's not my money. You know what I mean? But it's like, what you've done up to this point so far is like, it's worked really well and you've made so much money or whatever. Don't screw this up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But obviously they probably got like a few hundred, email saying, let us have proximity chat because we want to be nice to people on there. Right?
Right.
And then turns around and just like, fuck you, die, bitch. You know what I mean? I'll kill your mother, whatever. Like, yeah. Same person that was asking for voice chat. So, anyway,
Yep.
Next one we have here, Lenovo. The Lenovo Legion Go. That has canceled some pre-orders, Mayo, of its $1,100 Legion Go 2. Right? We thought that was expensive. We thought, oh no, there's not gonna be enough pre-orders. This is foolish for Lenovo to charge, $1,100 for a little freaking handheld. Okay, this thing looks even smaller than a Steam Deck. But yeah, they're saying this has substantially exceeded expectations. So the PC-based console will eventually get the same Xbox mode coming to the ROG Ally or the ROG Xbox Ally. So I wonder what they mean by that. Well, I can see the PC Game Pass logo on here, so I wonder if they'll just get like an Xbox button.
Probably
what it means, right? Like this one's Xbox branded, press it. So yeah, which okay, really, it's not much different. You can just there's probably another button on the Legion. What are they going to charge? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Xbox, right? I love Game Pass, but I guess if you have it there instead of somebody not knowing that you can play Game Pass, right? Right? Like, oh, you got to go here and then go to home and then scroll down to, the Xbox, whatever thing or whatever. Like, yeah, you can just, yeah, they'll probably charge you another $100, $200 just for an Xbox button. But yeah, you can already do it, right? You can already play that stuff. Probably, yeah, and they'll probably unlock that, when the Ally X, whatever, launches the Xbox One. But anyway, here it says that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 has been released, will be released next month, and boasts an 8.8-inch OLED screen, 144 refresh rate, removable controllers, and a similar AMD Ryzen processor to the ROG Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X. So I believe these are, trying to remember what they are, Mayo. They are the, I can't think of the name of it now, but it's a step up in their computing power. So yeah, see how that goes. But it will cost $1,100. So okay, this thing's kind of giving me a little ad over here. So what the hell happened?
Oh yeah, you have 1,100 for the base model as well. So you can go all the way up to basically 1,500 for the model with the most powerful processor and 32 gig of RAM and 2 terabyte of storage. So
1,500. Right. I mean, that is the top
that's a
tier,
tower.
but yeah.
I mean, that's almost buying a PC tower at that point.
Right. Yeah. I'm just kind of scrolling down here. It says, we know this is frustrating. We're truly sorry for the inconvenience it has caused, especially for most of our passionate fans. The Legion Go 2 was built with you in mind, and this experience has been an important lesson for us. We'll use to improve and ensure a better process moving forward. Earlier this month, Lenovo was the first company to confirm that it will too be, getting the Xbox front end coming to the Ally X. The Ally X and a more powerful Ally X will be released on October 16th. So yeah, I don't know. So I wonder too if they really, what this is they only need 10,000 of these things, right? So, and they got whatever, 12,000 pre-orders. Do you think that was probably the case as well? What I mean?
I mean, I think I would rather not, as a company like that, not make enough, than make too many and have a bunch of them sitting around at that price point.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's just on the shelf, right? Not making money. So, and I'm sure that's probably, yeah, I'm going to bet you that's probably a thing, right? Where, yeah, they got 12,000 pre-orders, but they've only got 10,000 available. They're like, wow, you guys were so wrong on the internet for trying to come against us for how expensive we were when we sold out on pre-orders. But yeah, how many did you make? How many are available? So maybe it was in the article. I didn't read it, but probably the case. So. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Dying Light: The Beast is the latest game to come to be censored in Japan. I was watching gameplay of it today, and I know I got Dying Light 2 and at launch and only played 3 hours of it and just got bored. I was like, okay, I'm done. That was $60 down the drain, I felt, but Yeah, I thought maybe one day I'll go back. It's not a terrible game. So good graphics. Yeah, I really like the setting. I think it was done in like a Hollywood style setting up in the Beverly Hills area. So pretty cool. Yeah, and I just never. I tried to get into it twice, and I was like, okay, whatever, go play something else. It just didn't. Yeah, I feel like after Dying Light 1, I was like, okay, kind of done with this style of game, but definitely the best in the series. But anyway, censored in Japan by the ratings board Zero. So, as noted by GameSpark, the game's official Japanese website points out that the Japanese version differs from that released in other countries, according to achieve a Z rating, Zero's highest rating, which makes it illegal for anyone under 18 to buy it. The Japanese version of Dying Light, The Beast, has received a 0Z rating after making the following changes from the overseas version. The website's description reads via machine translation. These changes have resulted in an overall tone down on violent scenes while still allowing Japanese players to enjoy seamless co-op gameplay or co-op play with friends playing the overseas version. Changes include the removal of visible internal organs in zombie models and map objects, changes to the character models of several female zombies, the removal of facial and torso dismemberment models, and the removal of nudity. Usually in this instance, the change also applies to the Steam version of the game in Japan, even though PC games don't usually have to pass through Zero, which is CERO. This is the latest example of games that have been censored in Japan, often due to dismemberment. Earlier this year, it was confirmed that the Japanese release of Assassin's Creed Shadows has been censored, with Ubisoft removing the ability to dismember heads, limbs of enemies, and changing the way several body parts were depicted. So, yeah, that's just. I guess they don't like that in Japan. They don't like violence, huh? They're not like us Americans. Come on, like, even showing the bloody torso of a fucking zombie? Come on. I don't know, man. A female zombie, a male zombie. It's still a zombie. It's still going to kill me. It's going to bite my fucking jugular vein out, bro. Okay. And yeah, after it's been zombie for a while, the clothes get a little tattered. You know what I'm saying? And, things fall off, and I don't know. It gets ugly out there. So.
Yeah, I don't think they care what they look like anymore.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I guess nude zombies, that would be bad. So, yeah, creepy. But anyway, the next one we've got here, the University of Tennessee down in Ghost Nico's area here. It's going to offer a Grand Theft Auto history class starting soon. So the University of Tennessee is launching a new history class, Grand Theft Auto, or Grand Theft America, U.S. history since 1980 through the GTA video games. The course will use GTA series to teach U.S. history since 1980. Taught by Professor Tori Olson, the class begins January 20th of next year. The worlds of academia and gaming are colliding in a bold new way. On January 20th of next year, the University of Texas will launch a groundbreaking new history course, GTA America, U.S. history since 1980, blah, blah, blah. It will be the first of its kind, offering a unique lens through which to examine modern American history. The curriculum will be used beloved and controversial Grand Theft Auto series as its primary teaching tool. By delving into the game's sprawling satirical narratives and meticulously crafted fictional worlds, students will explore themes of consumerism, political corruption, the American dream, and urban decay over the last 40 years. Professor Olson's approach recognizes that the game, while fictional, are powerful cultural artifacts that reflect comment on real-world history in a way that resonates with a new generation. Speaking to IGN, Professor Olson said, one of the ideas behind the class, let's see here, the innovative course provides the history is not confined to textbooks. It's an experiment in the new form of education, showing that the most effective way to teach is often through mediums that students are already passionate about. As fans continue to wait for the highly anticipated GTA 6, students at the University of Tennessee will be busy analyzing the history that made the franchise what it is today. Yeah, that's cool. Cool, man. I mean,
It's
yeah,
different. I mean, I think we should all pool some money together and send Nico, and then he can report
right.
back to us how it was. All right, we'll send Nico to school.
Yeah.
He can give us some Grand
Oh,
Theft Auto history.
yeah. He'll come back an expert on GTA. Yeah. Did you guys know that GTA 5? Yeah, like yeah, that'd be cool, man. Throw some knowledge on us, Nico. Fun. Yeah, while teaching American history. Okay, I don't understand. I guess what, are they just going to mix it through whatever American history and then GTA? I don't know. It just seems like a weird kind of. I mean, I guess it's part of America, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess if you kind of bake the whole GTA thing in there, so anyway, next article:
Well,
Sucker Punch. Good old Sucker Punch. Is confirms that it has fired an artist for joking about the Charlie Kirk shooting. Making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker. Sucker Punch Studios head Brian Fleming has commented on the case of a studio veteran who was fired from the studio for making light of the assassination of the far-right activist Charlie Kirk. Drew Harrison, who had worked at Sucker Punch as an artist for almost 10 years, wrote, "I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his brother got his back." In the immediate aftermath of Kirk's shooting, a reference to Luigi Mangione, the prime suspect in the December 2024 assassination of United Healthcare worker CEO Brian Thompson. Numerous right and far right wing influencers, included Tesla and the ex-AI CEO Elon Musk, were on the prowl for negative comments about Kirk in the wake of his shooting, with the aim of punishing progressive and critical voices. Harrison quickly found themselves in the spotlight a few hours after her original post wrote that Sucker Punch had received numerous emails calling for her dismissal. She was also inundated with missed calls, likely from outraged onlookers. She was fired less than 24 hours after her tweet. In an interview with the GameFile, Fleming confirmed that Harris was ousted because of her joke about Charlie Kirk and the subsequent campaign. The facts are accurate. Drew Null is no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that, kind of in a no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. So, yeah. So
yeah, that's bad timing of things, right? Because they have the Ghost of Yote coming out here soon.
Oh yeah.
So like, you don't want some negative press in there, I guess. Like
Yeah, I
before
saw.
that game comes out.
Yeah, and I guess Jimmy Kimmel, right? So I guess he comes back on Tuesday, right? I mean, I guess he was, his show was suspended, or
Oh, is it
yeah, it
coming back?
wasn't
I haven't seen that yet.
I saw that on social media that today he was coming back on Tuesday. So I kind of had a feeling because it didn't say like, I don't know. Yeah, it didn't. I don't know. I didn't see anything from the studio or from Disney/NBC or whoever runs that stuff that was like, that's it. We're completely whatever. He's not fired or whatever. They never said it, and I thought, well, maybe they'll make the announcement that they're gonna fire him. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, and then they said, okay, he's coming back. But yeah, definitely bad timing on it. So yeah, and I'll just say this, Mayo, I guess to be, because it was a political thing or whatever, but it was like, I guess like it's more of a, how do I put it, like a code of ethics thing or whatever, not so much a free speech. I guess you're free speech, like yeah, you wrote it probably from home or whatever, but I'm sure if I did the same thing at my company and I guess if I acted like a fool or whatever, I'd probably lose my job too, so got to be careful,
Yeah.
right? I guess if you, unless you're an independent worker, yeah, like, yeah, I hope they, oh, and this is another thing, Mayo. I totally forgot about this, but, this was a thing I think when I'm trying to remember where I was working. Might have been the job before this because I don't switch jobs very often, but I remember when Facebook first became a thing, and then I remember people were, it's kind of like in the same lines. I guess they were when they would go work for a company, they wanted their profile or access to their profile. I don't know if they wanted like your username and password or something. I don't know. So to your MySpace and Facebook. So yeah, I guess it was like so that
see what you're posting or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it was more went along with the code of ethics thing or whatever to kind of see how your persona is online or whatever. So yeah, like that's the way I looked at it, right? Like a little less political, but more. Yeah, if you're posting about murdering babies, then they don't want you working at our company or whatever. So yeah, I remember that being a big deal, right? When I want to say right when Facebook started. So yeah, that people were outraged that their potential employer wanted their information. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, and I thought, well, I guess if you're posting crazy stuff on there, I don't know. So yeah, got to be careful. So what you post, right? So but anyway, so yeah, that's all I have really for the news. I don't know if I missed anything on there. So um yeah, and then the only other thing I just wanted to bring up here, Mail, was we were talking about it earlier and throughout the week or whatever. Just us in the group or whatever about how Borderlands 4 is running, and I think even Leahy said no, like he's got the 5070 and the game's running fine, and if you put it to full settings and it chugged a little bit, but again, that's a 5070, so like he had to lower his stuff down, and I've just been seeing more, I guess, more people on, I don't know if it was just Xbox or that were after a couple hours it starts to the FPS will a reduction or whatever in FPS. So, and I'm like, wait, isn't the game already in 30? So what is it running at? 20 FPS, 18? Like, yeah, I haven't played enough of it. I haven't played enough on console. So, and the other thing, I haven't seen Randy attacking gamers on there, acting like a complete imbecile lately.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking maybe that Take-Two or whoever owns the damn company or whatever, right? Like, yeah, the overall parent company. I forgot who it is. So, yeah, it's not 2K, right? But anyway, they probably made that phone call. Randy, shut the fuck up. Yeah, like
Right.
yeah, shut the fuck up and go back to work. You know what I mean? Like, stop attacking the people that bought our game. Yeah, you look like a complete clown. So. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what happened. So anyway, yeah, and I've said it. I've said it already. They're going to continue to further. I don't want to say use the word optimize, but I'm sure they're going to reach that optimization eventually, right? By these small incremental updates that they do.
Yeah. These games come out so unpolished anymore nowadays.
Oh
that, like you were saying, a couple months from now, it's going to miraculously hit 60 frames on console.
Absolutely.
Like,
mark my words. Yep.
Yeah.
Mark my words on it. This is going to happen, right?
They're rushing them out too quick nowadays. Back. I guess that's the downfall and the plus of digital, right? So we were just doing physical copies. They would, I guess, try to do a patch right away, but back in the day, the game was good. When it came out, there wasn't no day one patch. There wasn't no, rough running start game off the rip. It was pretty good right off the rip.
Yep.
And that's probably the downside of buying digital nowadays, because they know they can patch it or they can get it out there right away. And then, in a couple weeks, they'll make an update, But
that's it, right? Like,
I guess it helps them push their release dates, So, and you know how we are as gamers, we always want more. So we want it now.
Right. And it's like, right. And then we'll get the game and they'll say, hey guys, it's, we'll leave PoE out of this one, but, or, the other one, the, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I mean, but there's many, right, that, you can look on Steam or whatever that are, early access, early preview, right? That like, and there's probably 50 of them on there right now that are just in early access, whether it's some kind of, single A open world, whatever. And, man, some of those games, like, hey, these games are running pretty good. Yeah. It's just out of the AAA ones that, kind of come out and go, yeah. And I'm not saying that Borderlands 4 is this or whatever, but, there's been other examples. Cyberpunk 2077, right? That was a good one that, that just fucking shit the bed right at launch, right? Like,
Yeah, it did.
on console, on PC, it was a different story. So, yeah. But yeah. So, but I think that's all I got. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Just keep on gaming, Mayo, playing probably the same stuff I've just been already playing, and yeah, play that other Steam game that whatever. One other game I forgot to mention, and I did play it. So it's called Animal Well. So not much to say on it. It looked like a little indie darling when it first came out, and I want to say it's a Metroidvania game. I don't know if that's the right terminology for it. So I know that some of the bigger media companies like like IGN and Game Informer, which is back or whatever. They talked about this at launch and whatever, and it seems like a pretty cool game, and I like the gameplay of it, and yeah, it's a platformer. So yeah, I think it's going to be a cool Steam Deck game for me. Playing that game. So, and I'll have more to talk about in 2 weeks on episode 500. So, yeah. But anything else? Anything you got, Mayo? Before we get the hell out of here.
Pretty much it.
Awesome. So, all right. Well, I guess we're out of here. Gunny Chief, go find me, Gunny Chief, on everything. Thanks for adding me, guys, over on Xbox, and appreciate you guys, and over on Steam as well. So, oh man, I need to give the PlayStation more love, man. I need to buy something on there. Like,
I know, I keep doing the same thing. I'm like, I need to buy something on there to play it. I need to
go back to Death Stranding. Yeah. Go back to Death Stranding 2, or probably get the Ghost of Yotai. So, right, because that's the only place it's gonna be for a while. So, because everything, like I said, man, it's going to be a timed exclusive. When we say exclusives, no. That was the old way, right? That's when you could only play Halo on an Xbox, right? Nope, everything's a timed exclusive, even on PlayStation. There's a few things that you can only play on PlayStation, but no, everything eventually comes over to frickin' Steam or whatever. But yeah, go find me, Xbox. Where do we find you, Mayo?
You can find me mainly on Discord as the Mayo. Steam, obviously now playing Path of Exile 2, still a lot. Need to branch off and find something else I play this week a little bit, get my feet wet and something else. But yeah, in game in that game, if you need any help or whatever too, just let me know, and I can come join you and try to help out a little bit, or at least kind of help you get through the campaign or figure out where you need to go if you're stuck. So hit me up on Discord.
Yeah, horrible gamers podcast on the old Discord. We're always up in the chats, sometimes the evening. So, and go find Jesus as Jesus walks a lot. So I know when's Battlefield coming out? That's got to be again soon, right? Like, I don't know if that's coming next month, or it's got to be real soonish. Battlefield 6.
I want to say it's October, but
yeah,
looks like October 10th.
Okay,
right,
man, like. Yeah. Awesome, man. I know he's going to be playing the hell out of that. So, yeah, so go find Jesus. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thanks for listening. Look for us in a couple weeks, episode 500. We're going to do it. So, what does Gidget say?
Peace out, Brussels sprouts. Catch you on another episode of The Horrible Gamers next week, Gunny.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.